I am here today to talk about how we took 50 years of a family's history and combined resources to create a legacy showcasing their family. In about a year ago, I was contacted by a former client, and her mother-in-law wanted to take on a project. She wanted to combine VHS tapes, photos, audio recordings, and take all of that and put it into one mega movie.
So we started with them born, meeting each other, married, kids, growing up, spouses, grandkids, a celebration, a sweet song, like a really sentimental song, and then a dance party, because music is important. All of these things were important to them, and so figuring this out, so that was how we started to take what Lida had given us and then even break them into different chapters and other sub-chapters.
When I got on the phone with her, I thought there's no way we're going to be able to do a movie like that in a 15 to 20 minute slideshow. There was so much content. Her vision was that it was going to be like a 45-minute video. Once we got started, I realized this is definitely more like a movie premiere that we are going to be creating.
Just reviewing this footage and speaking with the client and just sort of hearing all these stories, I was hearing her and him, the husband and wife, in my head. And I imagined that if they were to actually record their voiceover to this stuff, it would just be, I don't want to say it would sell the movie, but it would make the movie go from just being a slideshow to something really special to the people that they were giving it to.
The first step was to get VHS tapes. There were 10, and we needed to get those into a current digital format. So once we got those converted, we were able to go through the snippets that would be worthy to include in this family's movie. After that, we went through.
Right, yeah. So what Lida was saying basically is that I couldn't do my thing. I couldn't even start my project until she had basically finished all of hers. And so that includes going through the books, all the digitizing, the naming, and then getting them to me. From that, so this was difficult. I started with the first videos that the client basically, all the videos that they got digitized. So I got those first, then we were waiting to get the pictures back. So once I had the videos, I was able to at least sort of go through piece by piece, went through this with them and the clients, and then I also did it, of course. The thing about editing is you got to do like 6 other times by yourself. Going through the footage, it's interesting because I can't just do my old school cut. I feel like the whole family, her, or the client, everyone wants to see these videos. So you can't just like cut them like you would a normal snappy trailer. You want to make them so that people can actually enjoy them.
This client did scrapbooks for each of her sons. She has 2 grown sons, and she had 20 scrapbooks spanning their lifetime, basically from birth to age 18. Each boy had 10 scrapbooks. Going through those scrapbooks, we identified which photos would be telling the best story of their formative years. We took those 20 scrapbooks and took the photos that had been tagged and digitized those. I will show the process of how those photos went from the scanning process and how we were able to get those organized, because the movie itself is in themes. We have the young couple getting married in the 60s, and then them having their children in their 70s, and then the 80s, the boys growing up. So these different themes were part of this project. And once we had the movies digitized from the VHS tapes, once we had the scans, the photos scanned, we were able to get those into their appropriate themes, or as I was referring to them when I was organizing the photos into separate chapters. So we come over here, and I have the scans that I received from my scanner. And so I import them into a program that is called Lightroom. And this program allows me to view all the photos. So once all the photos get loaded into the program, so I mean, this is like, we just wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Once I was able to import all the photos, they came in basically in no particular order. I knew the general time frame for when these photos were taken, and I know who is in them. So it was important for me to be able to get these organized for the client. I also was bringing on a partner to do the video compilation. And in order for him to know which photos go into which chapter, these photos needed to be organized by chapter and people identified as best as possible. And the photos needed to be in order, chronological order. And as they get scanned with the current date. So if they were scanned in September of 2021, the date on the photo capture is September of 2021. It was my job to make this a little bit easier for everybody by changing the dates to the best of my ability. Because this is not a photo organizing project, it's a project for a video. Here we have the before version of the photo scans as they came in. There was basically, the books were numbered P1 through P20, and the photos that had been selected by our client were the ones that were scanned. And they are just in a mishmash of, there is no particular order to these photos. Once I was able to identify the photos and put them into their proper places, the photos were then identified and renamed. So what we have here, we have 7 chapters that will be part of this movie. Then we have chapter 1, which includes photos from the couple from, their childhood, their formative years, into you move forward to their wedding. The second chapter is a focus on the boys, the 2 grown sons, their infant stages, and all of their formative years through the 80s, and then as they got older into their teens and 20s. Once they met their current wives, we have the chapter that includes both of the couples. We have some of their dating photos. We have their wedding photos. Any photos from baby showers, honeymoons, trips, pregnancies, and then the 2 brothers and the 2 sisters-in-laws as they go out and as they have their own celebrations. The 4th chapter, which is also the largest chapter, there's currently 455 assets in here, are the grandbabies. And there are multiple photos in here. What I did end up doing, because there's so much content in this particular chapter, was I used a star rating to identify which of the photos I was going to pass along to Mike, who was putting together the video. Because as you see, these photos are all from basically the same day, and we don't need all of those. So by having a star rating, I was able to focus in on the favorites for each chapter. He still got all the photos, but those were the ones that were the priority into the video. This also includes videos, because nowadays we have our camera and our video camera with us at all times. So there are little snippets of videos of the boys, either singing or eating or playing or on vacation. This family is also very musically inclined, and dancing and music is a huge part of their life. So we have a chapter dedicated to dancing. Then we have some photos where things get repeated through the generations. And then we have the current family, where everybody is within the last few years. And that's how we're wrapping up the photo content of what went into the video.
Then we brought on the pictures, so then I was able to look at, I'd say about 75% of the project. So we started figuring it out. So Lida had given us the chapters of everyone, how they were, basically the people as they were. Then the client and I were trying to figure out sort of the best way to put everything together. Logically, chronology, just in chronological order, was kind of one of the easiest ways. So we started with them born, meeting each other, married, kids, growing up, spouses, grandkids, a celebration, a sweet song, like a really sentimental song, and then a dance party, because music is important. All of these things were important to them, and so figuring this out, so that was how we started to take what Lida had given us and then even break them into different chapters and other sub-chapters. So after we did that, just reviewing this footage and speaking with the client and just sort of hearing all these stories, as I'm watching it, I was sort of thinking, I was hearing her and him, the husband and wife, in my head. And I imagined that if they were to actually record their voiceover to this stuff, it would just be, I don't want to say it would sell the movie, but it would make the movie go from just being a slideshow to something really special to the people that they were giving it to. Because she's doing this as a surprise to her husband and the whole family. So no one really knows this is happening. So I also thought with that, a better surprise to them, something that's going to impact them now and then in like 6 different ways. One for the sons and then for the grandchildren to all then get to re-experience their grandparents and to see their parents when they were 5 and 6 and whatnot, and now that those grandkids are going to be 40. So it'd be very interesting to have them to do the narration for all this stuff. So I proposed it. They accepted. Now, the funny thing is, the client, the woman and I, we have a really good relationship. The husband and I have a good relationship. However, he doesn't officially know what I'm doing or what we're doing together. So it's kind of like, we need to do this project. We need to get him, I basically wanted him to talk about the footage without seeing the footage. So we got our questions. Lida had helped me with preparing the questions for the video. She basically thought, these are the things I would ask. I kind of took those, segmented that into our story of the way that the video was then, before this interview. Set up. We did the day. We did the interview. It went really well. Then, what you do, then we had to edit the interview footage, right? So basically we had a bunch of these old school videos, we had some photos, and then we had some of the newer iPhone, little snippets, and we had all those as a clump. And then all of a sudden we got this interview as a clump. So then what we did is basically looked at everything. What are we looking at? What's going on? And so we chronologically ordered the interview footage, so that way it could just sequentially go from here's when we meet, blah, blah, blah. And that was kind of the easiest way to sort of add the interview into what we had already done. Now, of course, once we did that, then the movie changed in general. So then we had to edit that to sort of meet the interview. And then even as that was happening, we'd do renders, we'd watch it, and then we would still kind of play with the timing of where the certain interview pieces were going. And so that's what was tough. So the biggest thing about this project, as Lida was originally saying, she was really trying to go short. And when I just looked at 2.5 hours of 80s footage, I was like, just this is going to be 40 minutes. You know, just to aggressively like edit that down. And then it's, if not even more. So that's where it became, so the client and I, we were able to sort of review the footage, and I reviewed the footage. And again, this is where, like, what did I say? Anytime you have like X length, you need to assume that the editing is going to go anywhere from 6 to like 20 times as long as whatever that thing is. Yeah, so that was it. So then we kept piecing it together, piecing, changing, moving, changing, piecing, moving, changing, editing. We kept going on. We found our songs, kept going, iteration. The client was very, very hands-on, which I appreciated, because then she was able to help me sort of guide through who her family was, where she wanted the photos, and all that stuff. So yeah, this became a different kind of piece, because normally, you know, when you do social media or like other event promo videos, you're going to want basically a second and a half. Like, there's only going to be about a second and a half before you cut to the next clip. However, this, with all this footage from the 80s, of the boys growing up, and even their grandkids growing up, I mean, you don't want to just do a second and a half with all of them. You actually want to sit and enjoy the footage, because you're basically taking all of these memories and I'm turning the book, basically what would have been a book in chronological order that Lida has made, and I turn that into basically this interactive thing. So obviously you may not have all the time to sit down for an hour-and-a-half movie, so you get a book that Lida has, and that way it's on your kind of coffee table and you get into the memories. But the point of our video was to sort of simulate the idea of sitting with a book and sitting with good memories, and that you're not rushing through anything. You're able to just sit there and enjoy it, and then to really have the husband and wife, grandpa, grandma, mom, dad do the narration, I think makes this piece really what it is. Without it, it could have just been, it would have just been another kind of slideshow, which would have been nice, because those are very nice to people. But adding this interview with the husband and wife, grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, whatever, adds the personalization that'll make people want to watch. So maybe you don't want to watch it now for these 5-year-olds, like it's going to be a little young or a little old for them. It's going to be a little old for the 5-year-olds, but or a little more advanced, like they're not going to be able to follow. But this is going to be something that when they're 18, you'll be able to redo it and see it again. So almost 6 months to when we agreed to move forward to me going over there in a couple weeks to help her set it up on the TV to make sure everything plays. So again, this is something you're going to be able to hand down to all your family. They may watch it every 5 years or every couple years, but this is almost like a wine. And I hate to, but this is kind of like it is like a nice wine, because it's going to keep aging very, very well. I hate to even, Jim, he brought this up, and just, clips like these is why this is important. And this is why we let it in. This is why I left it in, because hearing, when you get the couple talking, it was very relaxed. So we basically set it up. So obviously Jim didn't know what was going on, but he knew that obviously I'm there to record some footage for posterity for the kids. So he understands that. I mic them both up. They have their lavs. We have the shotgun, 2 cameras. They're in front of the fire. It looks gorgeous, beautiful. I mean, they have a beautiful house. So any room would have been awesome to film in. But something about the fire is just so nice. And we did it. So we talked. It was basically, kind of a one take thing. I asked them questions. They talked. and they banter, you know, and that's what happens. The client knew me a little better because her and I had been doing this editing, so the husband was kind of just getting to know me, but you know, getting the comfort with the videographer makes this performance that much more comfortable, and then because it shows. So I let them talk. They were able to banter. They were able to joke. Can you count to 30? And then so hearing that banter is really what their relationship is. And so now, obviously I'd want to script that, but I don't know how to get a couple, you know, like how do you get them to react? So you kind of just have them talk, and then they are themselves naturally. So when you get their banter, and you get to know really who they are instead of just feeling like you're reading, you know, instead of having them very wooden and reading a script and like, oh, these words are the right words to say. It's like, no, you get them to be themselves, because you want to see them as themselves in their environment. And because these grandkids and their kids, they're going to know, they want to feel like they can just walk in there and hug them. And so that's kind of what this was. So, so far the client is extremely happy. I am very, very happy with how this turned out. Being a private piece, of course, don't want to show all of it, but show some of it with here. So then we're going to have something very great, you know, that is going to be able to show their kids and whatnot. So I think, let me talk to Lida about this. How do we? Let's see how much taller I am than you.
Oh, do you want to sit on a box?
No,
stool
no.
Or something? I can sit up straighter.
Can you check that? Is that your?
Wow. Can you believe that this project is coming to an end?
I can't. It's been, you said it was a year. So I've been working on this 6 months. That's amazing.
I've got to say, I am so glad I called you on this, because there's no way that I could have handled the video side of this. I mean, initially when I talked to her, I thought, oh, sure, I'll just compile some photos, set it to music, and add some videos. But when I started learning the true scope of this, I knew I needed reinforcement. So thank you for being the saving grace here on this project. It was amazing.
Well, as well, thank you for introducing and doing the original work that you did, because I don't think I could have taken it if it wasn't so well prepared and packaged to be able to easily, for lack of a better phrase,
Yep.
Figure everything out, go and then just get some kind of skeleton.
Right.
Because the versions that I've gone through, it's probably been 20 revisions, 20 renderings of this whole thing,
Right.
starting from a very loose, here's the raw videos, here are these photos. We were able to do this recorded interview with Catherine and Jim, where Jim didn't officially know what we're interviewing him to. So we were able to get that story, then combine the photos with the videos.
Yeah, definitely. When I sat in on an editing session with you and Catherine, you're just whizzing through everything. I mean, I knew that this was way beyond my abilities and way beyond my scope. So having us each have the piece that we brought to this project is, I think, what made it such a success.
I agree.
And I think that Jim and Catherine and the kids and the grandkids are really going to enjoy their movie premiere.
I'm so excited.
Here's to them. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's not terrible.
No.
So this project was certainly no small undertaking. There were a lot of moving pieces and a lot of partners that helped in this, from the photo organizing side to the digitizing side to the video compilation. This was a tremendous effort that is, like we said, a year in the making. And with the amount of photos and videos that we are taking on a regular basis, our photos and videos are at risk of being lost down this black hole of surviving only on our phones or our iPads or our computers. And at the very least, what we should be doing with those photos is enjoying them. And an easy way to do that is by purchasing a digital frame. With the Wi-Fi connectivity, It is very easy to directly from your phone transfer an image or a video to that digital frame. You don't even have to be in the same state as that digital frame to have that photo sent to the frame. For anyone who's a little bit more ambitious and wants to do something like this video, this family legacy video, or a photo book, or a simple slideshow, there's so many creative ways that you can take your photos and your videos and create something meaningful for you to enjoy, as well as your legacy, your children, your grandchildren, and someone can enjoy those images for years to come. And I am here to help you figure out what that may be. Photos should be celebrated, photos should be enjoyed, our memory should not be forgotten. So Lida with Snimka Creations here to help you with your photo projects.
So of course this was a huge project. This took a year of all of our lives to kind of do this. We do have I do smaller projects, whether it's you want to send a year of your cell phone photos and videos by themselves. I could create that slideshow for you. If you do want to add an interview, you want to add yourself talking about your kids, so you can give this as a gift to them. This is something we can do. Video projects, video projects, video editing, photography, portraits, family portraits. Really, you know, any kind of visual media that you might want with your family. So, Michael Rattay, Ball Brain Creative, I hope to hear from you and to help tell your family's story with a creative family movie. This is Michael Rattay with Creative Family Movies. This is Michael Rattay with Creative Family Movies. Thank you for watching. So here, one idea to show you. This is to show you how big the thing is. So here's one little image. You zoom out, you see the whole timeline. It's about an hour and a half. It's about 6 to 12 layers, half being video, half being audio, some just being kind of redundant, but this is sort of everything that goes into making a special memory that you'll be able to cherish for decades. So, thank you, clients. I'm glad you're happy. I hope to continue making people happy. Michael Rattay, Creative Family Movies. Michael Rattay, Ball Brain Creative. BallBrainCreative.com. Imaginative videos and photos to share your story. Okay, we're done.
I did you go in my new home.
So what else should we see? So, now so I'll be telling the story, but I wanted to do the wrap up, so that's me kind of.
Yeah. Are you recording yourself at home kind of doing this? So you'll have your own little wrap up, and I mean, you're going to be cutting and pasting, and you're the editor, so
Yeah.
you know, you can edit it however you want it to.
Yeah, I'm imagining 3 versions, like the one specifically for your site, our joint one, and then focusing on just the video.
Yep.
That's probably what I'll do.
I mean, you can put in even more stats as to like the amount of hours that you've spent editing and